do Egyptians see the Arabs, the Palestinians in Gaza as part of their people?
Unfortunately, yes. Yes, this is a short answer, but I tell you why. Because, yes, part of it because Egypt was occupying Gaza for a while, for about a decade or so. And today, actually, many of the people in Gaza have their last name Al-Masri, which means the Egyptians. So in the mindset of the Egyptian public, Gaza is just an extension of Egypt. Except that President El-Sadat, when he signed the peace treaty with Israel, he said, we will only take Sinai and we don't want to take Gaza. So they think that it's like a history typo that needs to be corrected, kind of, that Gaza is not part of Egypt.
Why did Sadat not take Gaza back?
Because it's very problematic. The thing is that, with all due respect to the Palestinian people, I don't mean to underestimate their suffering in any way. I know they are suffering, but the problem with the Palestinian people is that their identity, there is nothing called a Palestinian identity. Like something specifically called for example, when I tell you the word Egyptian, you have an image in your head about what the Egyptian means. Moroccan, you have an image in your head about what Moroccan means. But Palestinian, what is exactly Palestinian? The first thing that comes to your mind will be violent resistance. And this is their identity. All the Palestinians, their identity is based on violent resistance. This idea that we are victims and we have to practice violent resistance against everywhere we go. And this is what makes them feel good about themselves. This is their identity, So everywhere they go, they wreak havoc. See what they did in Lebanon. This is when they leaked into Lebanon at one moment in history. See what they did in Jordan. See, and so on. So I think El-Sadat was very smart. He was very smart that he said, okay, it's very problematic for us. We don't want this. We want to rebuild Egypt and focus on Egypt. And we don't care. We don't care about this conflict altogether. And he just corrected the situations that Gamal Abdel Nasser made. So the mistake, actually, that Gamal Abdel Nasser made by getting us involved in all of this whole pan-Arabism thing and fighting against Israel and all of that. So this was the relationship of the people with Gaza, or is actually until now. They still think, okay, no, Gaza belongs to us and we have to fight for these people because they are part of us. But it's interesting, actually, I saw a shift in that after the Arab Spring, after Hamas leaked into, actually, before the Arab Spring, we were always told that if anything happens inside Egypt, like bringing down a dictator or any case or anything, Israel will take advantage of the situation and will immediately take over Sinai. But guess what? This is not what happened.
Why would
because Israel is the enemy, Israel is always bad.
I have to tell you, all my friends love to go travel in Sinai, but they don't. There's no desire to control it.
Absolutely, because you could have
it's
done
beautiful,
this.
And we love to be tourists there.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I love it too. Yeah, but the things that, yes, this is what was told to us when the Arab Spring happened. Who infiltrated into Sinai? It is Hamas. Hamas, not Israel. And guess what? Israel helped us get rid of Hamas later on in 2015, and between 2013 and 2015. When President El-Sisi himself, when he was a Ministry of Defense at that time, he said it publicly. Actually, people can search and find it on video, find him saying this. He went to Israel, asking Israel that please allow us to, because of the peace treaty, Egypt cannot take its troops closer to the border with Israel without Israel's approval.
Right, there's a demilitarized zone in Sinai.
Exactly. Yeah. So he went to his counterparts in Israel and said, I want to get closer to stop the leakage of Hamas into Sinai. They are infiltrating into Sinai. How the Israeli responded? They didn't say okay or no, they said, we are coming to fight with you. They didn't just say, which is so heartbreaking when you think about Egypt's reaction now to what happened in October 7th.
So I think it's a great time horrible time to segue to October 7
Yeah.
and what happened since. Um, do you remember when you first heard about anything that's happening on October 7?
Yeah, I was watching it from the very beginning. I was jet lagged because I was here in the US speaking at a think tank in Washington, and I just came back on October 5th. So I was awake very early in the morning on October 7th when this happened. And I started, yes, to see the news coming about, an attack that happened. It was not very clear at the beginning what type of attack exactly. And then the Arab media started to tell us that it was only a clash between Hamas militants and Israeli soldiers. And you're from the region and you know that this is something very common. We hear every week almost. So nothing new. It was not very attractive at the beginning.
Why was the Egyptian media reporting
Lying
that?
because they want to whitewash Hamas. They don't want to hold Hamas accountable for anything.
But I need to understand that better because Hamas is aligned with the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood right now is, the enemy of the leadership in Egypt.
They are banned in Egypt as well.
Right. So why would the Egyptian media side with Hamas, who is basically Muslim Brotherhood?
The same thing in Jordan also. They banned the Muslim Brotherhood, but they still support Hamas. Why is that? Because our regimes, Arab regimes, their hatred towards the Muslim Brotherhood is not because they disagree with them in terms of ideology or because they disagree with their ideology, but because they see them as a threat to their thrones, to their seats, to their presidencies, So that's why they banned them. Because if you remember, I told you the Muslim Brotherhood is representing itself as a grassroots revolutionary movement. So it appeals to the public who are very frustrated by the performance of their governments. So they can once again come back to the surface and offer themselves as an alternative unless they are banned by these governments like Egypt and Jordan and so. But Hamas does not represent a direct threat on them. On the contrary, Hamas is doing them a service by keeping this conflict heated up against Israel and keeping this anti-Semitic or Jew hatred very strong in the region, which eventually serves these dictatorial regimes by distracting their people from their own problems, domestic problems inside, by always referring to, look at what's happening in Gaza. We are championing. El-Sisi himself, actually, in the first week of the war, after October 7, like in the same day at around 3 p.m., on the same day of October 7, the government of Egypt issued a press release that was very shocking to me, very shocking to me. They were blaming Israel for October 7. Believe it or not, blaming Israel for October 7. They are not condemning Hamas. They are not paying condolences to the people who were brutalized that day, but they are blaming Israel and asking Israel not to take any actions and blaming Israel because it is the occupation that, led to this moment. And if you were not occupiers, this would not. A very strange press release. Then, about a week after or 2 weeks after, the Egyptian president made a huge conference and he was standing there at the stage and saying, "Long live Palestine." The Egyptian president. Actually, this was the moment I felt like I hated it. It's how come, you are the Egyptian president. You should not stand with the Palestinian flag in your background and you're saying, "Long live Palestine." Your job and your role is to say, "Long live Egypt," and stand with the Egyptian flag behind you, not the Palestinian, not any other flag. It was very offensive to me, at least, and to people like me.
So do you remember the first time you saw actual footage of what was actually happening during October 7?
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. A few days, of course, after, the news going back and forth, and we don't really understand what was going on, I was invited. As I told you, I was very active on Arab-Israeli dialogue, and also I'm an expert on Egypt-Israel relations, and so So I had good relationships with the Israeli embassy in Cairo and the Israeli Foreign Ministry. So they sent me an invitation to a video conference where they invited, by the way, more than 200 Arab journalists, activists, researchers, and so. And the conference was in Arabic. I didn't know what this conference was about, but okay, I went, and actually Afikhai Adarai was in the conference, the military spokesperson in Arabic for the IDF, and they started to show us footage from what happened on October 7th. Why is this was the time when the calls start, like the government in Israel start to say like we are getting into Gaza, and there was objection by the Arabs like no, don't do that, and so they wanted to show us what happened and why they need to get into Gaza to get rid of Hamas, to punish Hamas for what they did.
And release the hostages.
And release the hostages, and we didn't even know that there were hostages or anything. And then this was the first time I see the actual footage. I see how the people were killed. I see how they were kidnapped, women raped, tortured. The elder, I mean, it still haunts me until today, actually. I still have nightmares about it, and I only watched it on video. I can't imagine the people who lived through this, how they feel. It's terrible, Shai, in all means, by all means. I mean, it's the unthinkable,
What did you do next?
Immediately after I watched it, I participated in this video conference. Immediately, I went to my social media platforms. I have good following on social media.
Give me a sense just for...
On Twitter, for example, I have over 100,000 people. And they are quality followers, like, someone like President Obama is following me, for example.
Really?
So yeah, and so on. I mean, very prestigious people are following me. So I immediately went there, and I just told the people, like, guys, wait a second, like, what you're thinking was happening is not the truth.
What language did you write in?
Arabic first, because my goal was to reach out to the Arabic audience who are believing that it was only a clash between Israeli soldiers and Hamas militants,
They believe what they were told. You can't blame them.
Exactly.
The media
this is
says...
what the media is saying, So I started to share footage, to tell them what happened, to tell the stories, to tell what I saw and so. And this immediately stirred the horrible backlash against me. First from like social media. Hamas on social media actually targeted me. Death threats started to come to my phone. And then the Egyptian media, state-owned media, it seems that they felt embarrassed by what I said. And they decided to punish me. So they started, actually for days, they put my photo on the screen with the Star of David on my face and saying that they discovered the Zionist spy. And members of parliament in Egypt came on TV and they said, she has to be punished. She has to be arrested. She committed high treason. Why? Because I said Hamas did this on October 7th? Because I condemned Hamas? This is high treason for Egypt? Why? I couldn't understand. And what I'm telling you, this escalated very quickly in a matter of days, like 3 or 4 days. Then, unfortunately, radical Islamists picked up from there, especially the Salafists. A group of them that is very active in my family neighborhood, they went to our family house looking for me. They wanted to punish me for not being a good Muslim.
Can you explain, if you're willing, you don't have to, but what does that mean? They went to your house, wanted to punish me.
Okay, it's violence. It's mainly about practicing violence on me. These groups are everywhere in Egypt, by the way. It's not many people are speaking about them, but the Salafists are kind of thugs in religious clothing. And they form groups in each neighborhood, and they try to force the people in this neighborhood to practice Islam in their own way, like, to radicalize them as well.
To be, for people that are not watching this but listening, they might, they don't really have any sense of what you look like and maybe what your religious observances are like. You also practice Islam.
I am a Muslim, of
You
course.
you wear a hijab.
I am a devout Muslim. I am not even a secular person. I'm a devout Muslim. I am practicing Islam, but I am a Sufi. I am not practicing their version of Islam. I am more kind of a liberal side of Islam, the reformist side of Islam. For them, this is heresy. This is blasphemy, So they don't agree with Sufism or reformist Muslims like myself. But yes, I'm a devout Muslim. Like, there is no logic in what they are doing. But condemning Hamas for them and supporting Israel was a crime. So they wanted to punish me for that. They wanted to take me from my family house, and God knows what they were planning to do. Kind of kidnap me the same way the people were kidnapped on October 7. And thank God I was not there in the house at that time. My mother called me, and I was in my apartment in another neighborhood. My mother called me and told me. I immediately contacted the Egyptian security authorities, This is the logical thing anyone would do, to tell them that my life is in danger, I need your protection. First, several very important officers I knew because of my work. I was a leader of a think tank in Egypt, and so they did not pick up the phone. And finally, one of them picked up the phone, and he was very, very cold. And he said to me, why are you telling me this? We have nothing to do with you anymore. I said, my life is in danger. Are you going to protect me? He said, no. Let them do what they do to you. I said, why? Aren't you also against Hamas, like me? Is it because I condemned Hamas? He said, no, it's not about Hamas. But you said you support Israel. Because I said I support Israel's right to defend itself against this terrorist organization,
And that was
Hamas.
too much.
So this, for him, was a crime. That for this, we are not, and he's a very powerful person.
And this is
in the security authority in Egypt, and he could have protected me just like that.
And just
he refused.
to remind people, and Israel and Egypt have a long-standing peace. Now, it's not a warm peace. I would love to come visit Cairo and feel comfortable walking around. I would love Egyptians to come visit Tel Aviv and feel comfortable walking around. But it's still peaceful. And yet saying that you support Israel's right to defend itself was considered almost like a crime.
But I tell you something. Yes, we have a peace treaty. But actually, if you remember, only 3 months before October 7, and nobody speaks about this, I don't know why, only 3 months before October 7 happened, in June 2023, an Egyptian soldier on the border with Israel in Sinai, he, out of the blue, for no obvious reason, he crossed the border to the other side and killed the border guards, the Israeli border guards on the other side while they were asleep. And in Egypt, this guy was celebrated as a hero.
I did not know that. I remember the story in Israel. It was told as if he had some mental issues.
No. The media celebrated him. The government celebrated him. The people celebrated him. Everyone celebrated him like a hero. They even, people would take his image and put on their doors as a hero, and some likened him to Salah ad-Din al-Ayyubi, the historical figure, and so on. It's crazy. It's crazy. So yes, there is a peace treaty on paper, but guess what? Even this peace treaty in Egypt, they don't call it a peace treaty. They call it a strategic agreement with Israel. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So it's not a peace treaty.
So the one of the heads of security tells you it's not my problem.
Exactly, and he hung up the phone. Of course, I was in tears. I was so shocked. It was the scariest night in my life. I had to turn off the lights in my apartment so nobody knows that I am inside. And come and hurt me, because it was like I was sure at that moment that it will end up either one way, either being killed or being put in jail. The next morning, the news started to come out that there are 4 legal claims filed against me. Later on, I knew that they were filed by lawyers close to the government, close to the regime. and they are filing legal claims against me, accusing me of committing high treason, threatening Egypt's national security. Look at me. How come I can be a threat to Egypt's national security, for God's sake? And the funniest of all, spying for the Israeli Mossad. I am a Mossad agent, like.
The one thing Mossad agents don't do is come on this podcast.
Exactly. Or come in public at all. So it's, and I'm a very public person. I'm not a private person at all. So this was the irony of the situation, but it was very scary, of course. Now I'm laughing, but it was very, very scary at that time. But thank God, I had wonderful friends. I still have them. Thank God. They came together once. Actually, what I did, like, I started to send messages to people randomly, like help, and writing just 2 lines about what happened. Like, I'm in this situation. I have no other way to escape the situation other than this, the internet. And friends from the world started actually with a guy from Israel and a Jewish guy from New York.
From the Mossad.
From the yeah. And a Jewish guy from New York here. They came together, and then actually my friend here in New York, he poked my ticket. The other one was coordinating with other people who got us, like, people in the State Department here in the US. They coordinated with the embassy, and they were able, and actually they formed a team of people from different places in the world that was able to get me out of the country in 5 hours before something bad happens to me.
5 hours.
5 hours.
Why didn't you stay and fight the allegations?
Oh my God, it's Egypt. The judicial system is not fair. Actually, the fact that they moved these allegations against me, and by the way, they are still open until today, and they're still even persecuting me until today. They just want me to be silenced, to stop talking, to stop saying the things against Hamas, to stop saying things in support of Israel. So the fact that they even moved these allegations against me means that they want to hurt me. They can actually, if I was not evacuated at that time, I could have now been in some dark cell or jail in Egypt. Nobody hears about me, and they are letting me there dying slowly. This is if I was lucky. The other scenario is that they would send any random person, just kill me in my apartment or in the street or so, and say it's just a mentally ill guy who just was angry by what she said or her statements and killed her, and we're not responsible. But thank God this did not happen, and I'm still fighting the fight. Which is interesting also because, sorry for interrupting, but when I was on my way here, I was thinking that I left the bad guys behind, but to my surprise, there are bad guys here too.
We'll get to the bad guys here, but before that, I want to get a little bit into the mindset. You have 5 hours to leave. What did you do? Where do you go? What did you pack? Who did you tell?
Oh, you're the first person to ask me this. Oh my God. Yeah.
It's okay if you...
It was hard, Shai, it's like putting down all your life, literally all your life, all my friends, my family, my belongings. I had to leave with only 2 bags in order not to be suspicious at the airport or anything, just for things to go smoothly, like as if I'm a tourist or any traveler or so. And imagine that you have to pack your life in these 2 bags, and you're just standing there trying, to choose what to put in these 2 bags and what to leave. And I remember, I spent at least 1 hour staring at the sunset from my window, which actually I had a very, very beautiful view from my window. I can see the whole Cairo, my hometown, which I spent my whole life in and I loved so much. Sorry. And I was telling myself that I will never see this sunset again. So it's hard, you know. Sorry.
No, of course. I can't imagine. I really cannot imagine. You're one of the strongest
Oh,
people
thank you, Shai, but
I've
it's
ever met in my life.
thank you.
So you were on the plane to the US.
Yeah, I went. Actually, they stopped me at the airport first. Wow.
Because as long as you want.
You know, the worst part is that they take away from you, like, the worst part is that I still cannot understand why this happened to me. I believe that I'm on the good side of things. I'm not the bad person in this story. I'm not the person who carried weapons and went and killed people, or even the person who endorsed the killing of the people. I am the one who's calling for peace, you know, who's calling for justice for innocent civilians who were brutalized for no reason other than their identity, other than being Jewish, like, you know. So I feel like I don't deserve this. I didn't deserve to be treated like this from my home country, you know. It's not fair.
I think I don't think people in the West understand this. There's one word. I read a lot about you. And there's one word that when I see it, I immediately, something inside me that I can't explain just fires up. And I don't understand why people don't know about this anymore. And that word is fatwa.
Yeah. Yeah.
That there are fatwas on your life. A fatwa
Yeah.
is a religious decree basically denouncing that person as this person should be murdered.
Yeah.
And the religious
Your
stamp that
blood
you're
is
allowed.
sacred no more. Yeah.
And there are a lot of older American, mostly liberals, who know the word fatwa from Salman Rushdie, and they think, okay, it starts and ends there. And yet they don't understand that many of the things that they are supporting directly or indirectly right now are still from that same place of pure hatred
Yes.
and complete disregard for human life. So
Yes.
you're absolutely in the right side of this story. There's no doubt about that. And it's just not fair.
Exactly.
But you know what amazed me is that you could have come to the US running away from the craziness and disappear.
Mm.
But you didn't disappear.
No,
What
I won't.
you did the opposite.
Exactly. And because it has become personal to me. Before it was a cause, okay, fighting for Arab Israeli peace, better relationships between Muslims and Jews, ending Jew hatred in the region. Yes, this was a cause before, but now it's personal because it hurt people like me, even who are not Jewish, you know. And just because I said I support your position, I support the position of people who are brutalized, who are dealing with a terrorist organization like Hamas. So only because of saying that, I was hurt myself. So now it's a personal fight for me, and I will not let them win. Till the last day of my life, I will not let them win. And actually, I tell you what, I learned this from the Israeli people. Your sense of resilience is amazing, really. And I learned this from my Israeli friends, from the Jewish people, your history, all your history. How many times people tried like to finish you and you just came back stronger. So So we will come back stronger together.
Of course we will. But I do want to talk about what you're doing now in the US and what you're seeing now in the US.
Yeah, as I told you, I was thinking that, okay, the bad guys are back there. There are no bad guys here. But to my surprise, from day one, actually, the day I arrived, there were protests happening. The day I arrived to Washington, D.C., I first came to New York, and then I took the train to D.C. a few weeks after. The day I arrived to the train station in D.C., there was a protest in support of Gaza, allegedly in support of Gaza. And they were raising banners, and so that's full of slogans that is about hating America. It's death to America. They put even the image of Biden, President Biden, and saying bad words about him, and these people did not seem to me that they are saying anything about Gaza. It's mainly about America,
It's mainly about themselves. It's very narcissistic.
Yeah. Exactly. So this was my first shock, oh, what's going on here, And then after that, of course, we started to hear about the encampments, what's happening on American campuses, and being in this situation myself when I was an undergraduate student several years ago, I felt like I have to do something about it. I will go there and speak to these young people who are naively thinking that they are standing up for a humanitarian cause in Gaza, and tell them that they are brainwashed by organized groups that are affiliated to the Muslim Brotherhood somehow, and they are trying to use you as fuel for their movement. That is not about Gaza, that's not about the Palestinians, that is not about the Middle East, it's about destroying America.
And the interesting thing is when I can go and I have done this in colleges and talk to people, but in a way it's very much like the story that you personally experienced. You said you were 18, you thought this was spontaneous, grassroots, it was trendy, you put on the keffiyeh and you didn't know that you're being used as a puppet. And now you come to the US, you see different universities, different people, but same age, same trend, same keffiyeh.
Yeah, déjà vu. It was like a déjà vu for me.
So, of course, the good ending is you go to campuses, you tell everyone, now they're convinced and there's no...
No, of course not, as you know. So I started to go on my own and speak with the students and try to convince them. And actually, it was easy for them to accept me and speak with me because I speak Arabic. I look like them, kind of, with the hijab and the way I dress. I come from the Middle East. So it was easy for them to accept me and debate even with me, but they did not look at me as a foreigner or someone knows they don't want, or someone from the other side of the aisle, So it was very interesting at the beginning. Of course, it was not easy because the Students for Justice in Palestine kept showing up everywhere I go, and they tried to stop me. And thank God, all of a sudden, the Hilal International people contacted me. And they said, you're doing good work. We want even to make it more and more, bigger and bigger. And they supported me to go to more campuses. And so with them alone, I went to 45 campuses with them. And in total, this academic year alone, I went to 58 campuses.
Wow.
And I spoke to students from both sides, Jewish students, supporters of Israel, and Arab students who hate Israel so much. And it was amazing. I mean, of course, it was not easy again. I mean, especially I call them the keffiyeh groups, Students for Justice in Palestine, and its offshoots with all the names they have. They kept showing up. Even some of the students, Arab students who came to my lectures, and my lectures were just about the geopolitics of the Middle East. I'm telling them the knowledge that is not given to them about the region. This is the reality of the region, not the version or the false narratives that these groups are trying to give to you. So just for something as simple as that, they kept trying to stop me and stop even, Hilal and different Hilals that were hosting me, and on campuses, they made protests against me. It was crazy. Some of the Arab students who came to my lecture, and their numbers started actually to increase over time, told me that these groups, Students for Justice in Palestine and so on, their campuses, were terrorizing them before coming to my lectures that if you go to Dalia's lecture, because it's announced on campus, if you go to her lecture, we will not speak with you again. You will be cut out of our community. You will be treated as a traitor and so on. So they are even terrorizing the students. And I believe my biggest win actually was towards the end of the year, especially after the parade that Hamas made over the body of the children of the Pipas family.
Yeah, Kfir and Ariel Bibas and their mother Shiri.
Exactly. It was a very moving moment, actually. And I remember a couple of students came to me at one of the universities after the lecture, and they told me, we are from Students for Justice in Palestine. But we are thinking that we want to leave, and we liked what you said. We agree with what you said. And we want to ask you, how can we continue to support the people in Gaza without actually supporting Hamas? How can we do that? And
That's
this for
amazing.
me was like, okay, yes, I don't want them to fall in love with Israel now. This is not the story now. I just want them to be taken away from supporting Hamas. And this is exactly what happened.
So, by the way, this is what I also tell people. I don't care. I don't want you to be pro-Israel.
Yeah.
That's my job. I'm Israeli. I want you to be anti-terrorism.
Exactly. And this for me was like, yes.
What did you tell them?
I first of all, we remained in contact until today. Actually, we're still in contact, and they are even attracting more and more students to join their new movement. I told them, focus on the humanitarian situation in Gaza, see what you can offer to the people there, how you can amplify the voices of the ordinary people in Gaza, not Hamas. And I started also later on sending them by emails data on how Hamas actually make up the numbers about the casualties and victims of the war, the geography of Gaza, educate them about the situation there so they can educate other students as well. And I explained to them who Hamas is, what is their goal, and this concept of Islamic resistance movement, what it means, and I believe they changed it. And they are actually secretly or quietly changing other people as well.
So I want to talk about another issue that's coming up. You said that when you come to campuses, it's easier for the students to speak with you because you speak Arabic, you wear hijab, you are non-threatening to them. But the flip side of you being visibly a Muslim woman in the United States today is that you're also visible to people that are seeing you as a monolith and the rise of Islamophobia. And I know a lot of people talk about anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, and I think those are two different problems that we should differentiate. We should fight anti-Semitism and we should fight Islamophobia. Two different problems.
Yeah.
How do you feel as a Muslim woman walking around the United States nowadays?
Okay, it's not easy, to be honest, of course. But let me just start by making the differentiation between anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, because people look at them as one thing, but as you said, they are very, very different. Anti-Semitism is hatred towards the Jews just because they exist, because they are Jewish, for nothing else. Islamophobia is hating the actions of some Muslims, some radical Muslims. The radical actions of Muslims. It's not about hating Muslims for being Muslims. Nobody hates Muslims for being Muslim. Nobody cares, actually. They care for their actions. And there comes Islamophobia. And the thing is that Islamophobia today, who is using Islamophobia actually and raising the Islamophobia flag every time someone speaks, is the radical Islamists, groups like the Muslim Brotherhood, the jihadists, the terrorists, and so Qatar, Al Jazeera. Whenever something happens or someone comments on a terrorist act or a terrorist attack or an act of terrorism, they raise the flag of Islamophobia. Oh, this is Islamophobic. Even the banning of the Muslim Brotherhood by some Arab countries, some American scholars here in Washington, they were saying this is Islamophobic. Speaking about Arab leaders who are Muslims, banning the Muslim Brotherhood are Islamophobic. Like, so this is the narrative about Islamophobia. For me, yes, I would say, like, the majority, no, it's not a problem. Like, when people, but of course, like, the first impression is always like, she's a problem, you know? Oh, she's a Muslim, she's a problem. Of course, the first impression everywhere. But actually, when you start and when I start and speak with people, and so they understand who am I and where I come from. But of course, yeah, in most cases, like, the first impression is that. But I honestly, I cannot blame them. I mean, because this figure, like, this image is the image of the woman who's doing protests, cursing the Jews, and so, yeah. I mean, in other protests, and so it's hard for people, like, to differentiate immediately. I can understand why they have this negative first impression, but I hope this will change by time, of course. But you know
And you mentioned the banning of Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. It recently got banned in Jordan. It's banned in many of the Gulf countries. Why is it not banned in the West? Why is the Muslim Brotherhood, you know, why is it okay for Egypt, Jordan, Saudis, like all these countries to say, we don't have the problem with the word Muslim, we have the problem with the word brotherhood.
yeah.
It's the organization.
Yeah.
And Americans, Canadians, they're afraid to touch that.
I tell you, like, it's very, very interesting that the Muslim Brotherhood are now banned at their source, at the countries where they started operating, at Muslim majority countries, while in the West, who should be more scared of the Muslim Brotherhood, are not taking any action against them. But I tell you, this is going to change. I'm working on this right now with a great group called ISGAB, the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Policy, a research group, and we are trying to do our best to expose the reality of the Muslim Brotherhood. And hopefully, this knowledge will help policymakers here in the United States and everywhere understand how evil this group is, and work on banning them too, designating them a terrorist organization, or at least banning them from doing public activities. How the Muslim Brotherhood are protecting themselves from being banned here is that they are hiding their real identity here. How they are hiding it? They don't go out loud and say we are Muslim Brotherhood as they do in Muslim countries, in Arab countries, for example, that ban them. No, here they say we are civil society organizations, we are charity organizations, we are student groups standing up for Palestine. We are just people practicing free speech.
Who are
So
the main organizations, the biggest organizations that are affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States?
there are, I cannot, like, mention names now, but I can tell you there was a list of organizations, about 21 or 22 organizations mentioned in the Holy Land Foundation trial. It's a famous trial that was held here in the United States in 2008, where they discovered that some organizations in the United States that are claiming to be charity organizations are actually collecting money and sending them as donations to Hamas in Gaza. And Hamas is a designated terrorist organization. So somehow they were supporting this terrorist organization, and thus they were labeled as unindicted actors in this.
Right.
In this.
Right. So some of the famously two organizations. One is CARE, CAIR, which is named as an
CARE,
unindicted named.
ISNA,
It's not right.
MSA, I guess.
But
Yeah, it's a long list.
And
Yeah.
another thing that people need to remember, that Khatem Bazian, who was a fundraiser, was speaking at events for the Holy Land Foundation. He started Students for Justice in Palestine,
Yes.
and then later started American Muslims for Palestine with some people that worked in the Holy Land Foundation and evaded jail, including Osama Bisharid and others like them. So
Exactly, and they have been doing this game until today. By the way, actually, one of the very interesting things that happened after October 7, immediately after October 7, you don't know how they prepared themselves so fast. Uh, uh, they created a program for high school students that's called Palestine Education. Very well produced videos and material that is promoting the narrative of Hamas about the whole issue. And it has been used first in Islamic schools in the United States, and then now it's distributed, to other schools and other students who can access them also online. But the thing is that when you look at who is sponsoring that and you go up the chain, you will find that it is the same network of so-called civil society or charity organizations that are actually involved or linked to the Muslim Brotherhood ideology somehow. So it is very problematic. And the thing is that actually the Muslim Brotherhood protected themselves through two things. The Muslim Brotherhood protected themselves against being designated by the United States or so by doing two things. First, not acting as a one entity, but just scattered groups who work in coordination with each other, but from behind the scenes. Nobody can see how they are linked, but they work exactly in coordination with each other. This is one thing. And the other thing is weaponizing democracy to destroy democracy, using free speech, using democratic values, using the democratic system really well, so they can do whatever they want without being punished for what they are doing.
Yeah, I really hope that people listening and watching this will treat this conversation not as the last point of their education, but as the first point of their education. We've covered so many things from Egyptian history, Middle Eastern history, Muslim Brotherhood in the United States. And I just hope that this leads people to go to their favorite search engines, ChatGPTs, whatever, and just start learning, because if you don't know, you can only blame yourself.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a final question before we end, which is, given the high price that you have paid and are still paying, you're away from everything, your family, your home, your homeland, your city. Would you have done this again?
Definitely, no question. Of course. First of all, I don't think I paid any high price or anything. I feel like I was called. Yeah, it was a call, really, to do something good for the world. And I just stood up for the call. I took it seriously, and I'm absolutely. How can any person with minimum consciousness, after seeing the videos that I've seen about October 7, not to take action, or even celebrate it like the people in my country are doing? Yes, absolutely. I would do it again and again, even knowing that the price will be that high.
Do you think you'll ever be back in Egypt?
Unfortunately, it's not possible anymore. I hope one day things will be corrected somehow and I will be able to go back. But it's not going to happen anytime soon. So I gave up on this hope, and I'm holding on to my beautiful memories. And yeah, what else can I do?
Maybe you'll be the first female Egyptian president.
Actually, one of my friends predicted that. So let's see. Let's see. I believe you
Okay.
guys.
You've
If
heard
this happens, I'll
You've
be
heard
very
this
happy.
first at Here I Am, and we'll do a special episode from Cairo.
Oh, you never know, Shai. Yeah, I will invite you to the presidential palace. Yeah.
All right. So we end with something we call Here I Am Lightning Round, a series of rapid fire questions. There's no right or wrong answer, just the first thing that comes to mind. I don't know why I'm emotional. Dalia Ziada, what is one thing people don't know about you?
Is that I play squash. Maybe people don't know that. Yeah, I've played it all my life since I was 8 years old. Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah.
you're a really good squash player.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, I
I'm
want
a
to.
big fan of squash, I can say. Yeah.
I hope for his courts in the presidential palace because
Oh,
I want a game. Uh, what is one thing people don't know about Egyptian women?
um, they are very ambitious, very, very ambitious and very brave. And nothing stops them, really. Nothing breaks them, I would say.
What is your favorite word?
Wow, my favorite word. Freedom.
When was the last time you laughed out loud?
Uh, 2 years ago. Yeah. With my nephew.
Two
Yeah.
years ago.
With my nephew in Cairo. Yeah.
If you could be invited over for Shabbat dinner with any Jewish person in history, dead or living, who would that be?
Oh, actually, yeah. He's a guy. I don't know if many people know him. His name is Golden Sachs.
No.
Yeah, he's a great leader. Actually, he mediated. He played a role in the in the peace treaty between Egypt and Israel. But he's like one of these people who work behind the scenes. He's not doesn't want he's a businessman also, but unfortunately he's not alive anymore. I met him briefly, like at the end of his life, and I read his book. He has a great book actually. It's called The Defining Moments. And yeah, so I wish. I mean, if he was alive, but yeah,
All right.
he's not with us anymore.
What is your favorite holiday?
It's an okay. You will laugh. It's a Passover actually. It has always been my favorite holiday.
Passover. So
The
when
Passover.
the Jews ran away, it's
Exactly.
your
Actually, I used to joke about it with my Jewish friends all the time, like that they ran away from Egypt, and they would laugh and like say, "Oh, but we left you behind."
Mhm.
Ironically, I'm not left behind anymore. I
Never
had
left
to leave
behind.
myself too. But actually, it's one of my most favorite because it's also very tied to the story of Egypt, the Pharaoh king, and everything. So.
Yeah. What is your least favorite holiday?
Oh, it's an Islamic holiday. It's Eid al-Adha. It's actually it happened recently. It's a Islamic feast where they slaughter sheep
Hmm.
and animals and it gets really brutal. I mean, blood everywhere, and they mistreat the animals very badly when they are doing this. So I always hated it. Always.
When do you feel safest?
Uh, Okay, here actually, it was immediately after I arrived, after I came here to the US. I went to my friend's house here in New York, and this was the first time I feel really what the word safe means.
When do you feel least
I
safe?
didn't appreciate it before. I didn't
Oh,
appreciate what it means
wow.
to be safe somewhere away from danger, really. So this was the very first time in my life to feel really safe.
What gives you hope?
The IDF, actually. Yeah, ironically. I mean, look what they're
You are
doing.
not taking any risks.
No.
You are just saying, they're against me. They want to kill me. I might as well go all the way in.
No, really. I mean, look what they are doing. They got rid of Hezbollah. They are now going after the Houthis. Now Iran. Oh my God. Oh my God. And they got rid of they weakened Hamas to a point no one thought this will ever happen. They are doing miracles. Of course, they are giving me hope. Of course.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have to say, this is a rapid fire, but I have to say, I never in my life thought that I would be sitting with a Muslim Egyptian woman talking about everything that's happening in the world, and she would say with the idea of all things, with the idea of
Oh,
Skisar
yeah.
Hope.
Yeah.
Wow. Finally, every episode, I urge the listeners to donate to one charity if it does good in Israel, the Jewish diaspora, or the world in general. Where would you want people to donate to this week?
That's a good question. I don't know actually.
Like something in Egypt?
No, don't. No.
Hmm.
No, it will go to the wrong people. No, 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 no. Corruption there is terrible. No, I would, I don't know actually where people should donate, but maybe, yeah, focus on maybe I don't like have specific people in my mind or specific group, but the people who are doing work to educate the world about the real Middle East. These are the people that you have like to put all your investments on right now, because this is the best way to counter the narrative that these bad people uh, are doing. It's a narrative war as well. Yeah.
Dalia, where can people find you online?
It's very
Because no one knows
easy.
where you live, and that's important.
Yeah.
But where can people find you online?
It's very easy. Just my full name, Dalia Ziada, one word, everywhere online, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, everywhere. Just put Dalia Ziada together, one word.
And if you're having trouble finding it, then find Obama's and then look at who he follows.
Yeah, exactly.
So you'll see Dalia Ziada.
Exactly, yeah.
Dalia, thank you so much for taking the time and the trip to come and be here with us. And I am just strengthened by your strength, inspired by your work, and just hope that we will have many, many, many more conversations like this. So I'm just glad to say, here I am with Dalia Ziada.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really happy and honored to be with you here today, and thank you for the great questions and all the emotions that you got out of me. So thank you so much.
I have a question. I have a daughter. She's only 3, almost 4. What message do you have for young girls anywhere in the world about anything that you could tell them? If you could tell young girls something.
Yeah, of course. First of all, I mean, it may sound like a cliche, but believe in yourself. You're not any less because you are a woman. You are not weaker. You can do everything just like your brother does or another boy does. You can be anything you want. Just believe in yourself. The other thing is a word from my father. Actually, he told to me when I was young, like I was complaining about everything. Like, oh, I don't like this food. I don't like my colleagues at school. I don't like when I was a kid. And one day he stopped me and he said, "Come, look, stop complaining. Don't complain. Be the flower in the trash." And this has remained with me until today. Even if the whole world around you is a trash, focus on yourself. Focus on being the flower. When you are the flower, everything else will be a flower, will be a garden around you. You will turn everything else into a garden. But focus on yourself. Be a flower, the flower in the trash. And since then, actually, every time I'm stuck in life, I want to complain about something, just remember, no, I will be the flower in the trash.
Have you told that to young Egyptian girls?
I did actually, yeah, I did. I say this story everywhere I go, yeah. And I said it, yes, to many young people and young girls, yeah.
Well, it's a great question. Annette Beck, who's an artist in New York City, asks, how do you explain to people that are only affected by emotions the facts?
Of course, emotions blinds people, of course. And this is why media outlets like Al Jazeera and so are winning people, because they blind them with this footage they are giving to you about, this is what's happening. Oh, like people running to the hospital. It's a war. It's children are killed. And so they are winning people by playing on their emotions, blinding them, and then indoctrinating them with these messages. So how to do that? First of all, to remove the emotions from the situation, to tell them that this is not the truth, to make them doubt actually what they are watching, what they are seeing. So they start to bring the logic back, because we humans, emotions comes first. Like, if you see something moving at the corner of the room, you will be scared. Why? Because your emotions told you this is perhaps this is maybe a rat or something, but then you will discover that it's like a socks or something. So it's exactly this. It's exactly this. Just let these remove this blindness first. Let filter out the emotions and let them see the facts.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for everyone's
you.
watching live. Thank you, Dalia, again.
Thank you.